be so much a performance as it's going to be me kind of beta testing, alpha testing some stuff on you. So, and you know how usually that's kind of a metaphor for, you know, some kind of clever thing? It's not a metaphor, it's literally, I'm literally testing some stuff I did earlier today, and I want to test it and see how well it molds. What I'm doing with this system, what I'm doing with this system is I designed this system so that I could have a way to create music, so that I'd have a way to create music live, because it seemed that electronic music had gone away from actually creating music in the live sense, and it had become more of a recital format. And that was bugging me because, you know, I just turned 42 last month, and you know, there's a point where you realize you're going to do what you're going to do for the rest of your life, and the idea of standing behind a machine and staring at it to perform was getting on my nerves. So I designed this system so that I'd be able to do more, but as it grows, it's kind of becoming this other thing that's starting to incorporate a lot of other interest vectors, I guess you could call them. Let me see, let me put this on. So it's going more towards, well, it was always going to be fully immersive, but it's really kind of speeding up in the last year since I got the 3D printer. I didn't realize that the plastic was as strong as it is. You know, I mean, it's fragile in some ways. I couldn't like throw this across the room yet, but right now it's strong enough to be able to deal with flexing and holding the different boards and that kind of thing. So, and so in the last few weeks, the attention has moved towards stones. Yes. So the attention has moved towards more of a gestural sound design was kind of what it was maybe 6 months ago. It's more of a gestural trajectory type of a thing where the gestures, each gesture kind of leads to the next gesture, and then those gestures lead to the things that come after, so that there's a continuous flow of a theme is introduced, it's expanded on, then it's transformed, and then it's turned into something else, which is semi-unpredictable at this point, and turned in and evolved into something else. And hopefully over time it'll have a trajectory that's narrative. Did that make any sense? No. All right. So let me see. I mean, that's all depending on if it actually works right now, but sometimes it can jumble loose in a case. All right, let's see what we got. Can you hear that? Turn my volume up. Those are my indicator sounds to let me know that I'm in a different mode.
1, 2. That's my voice. All right. Here we go. So like I was saying, now the focus is 1, 2. Happens sometimes. The focus is moved towards evolving the sound over time. Right? I can change this voice if it's a little too weird. Wait just a second. There we go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2,
1, 2, 1, 2.
So the gestures allow me
To have fine control over my
voice over any aspect of the sound as I'm playing, right?
So, let me see. And the thing I want to show you
Is the transforms. So I'm gonna do a couple of those real quick. timing was messed up.
Okay, the mic's a little
Weird. Okay. It's on there with a screw, so I have.
That's where I'm at now. It's a little raw right now because it's kind of like a baby trying to use new words. It's like all these new words, and these are all like, some of them are like really new. So I'm still trying to maneuver it, but there it is. So there you go.
Maybe just three last final questions. One personal question. I wonder, what are your musical influences? When I was listening to Ted and also to parts of this, I had the feeling, is it more Herbie Hancock or Roger Troutman, the funk area, or is it more like Kraftwerk or like the Detroit techno scene?
It's not really I don't know, it's not really like an artist or even an era of artists. It's more the fact that there was a time when, say for instance, like in America, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, there was a lot of migration from like the deep south into the cities, and people were getting jobs, and they were kind of socializing in new ways, and so they were taking a lot of their traditions into these new places and kind of creating new stuff. So if you can imagine what it must have been like to hear that kind of stuff then. Now it seems old, but at the time it was just like mind-blowing. It would have been like seeing a cathedral 1,000 years ago. It must have just been like mind-blowing, or seeing a pyramid, that kind of thing. And then there's a lot of music, say like Jimi Hendrix, like Kraftwerk. I mean, they made their own stuff in the 70s, that kind of stuff. And it was like, you can imagine that when they came out, not only did everybody go, what's that? But you can imagine that it really kind of fueled them as well, because they felt like they had developed their voice in a way that allowed them to say what they wanted to say. And it's the same thing with, Prince. It's the same thing with, so many of the cats that came along with the electronic stuff, like Aphex Twin, like, Autiker, like Timbaland, back when he didn't suck, and, oh, here we go. There were and are still, there's a group called Hermit Lobby. If you get a chance, look them up on, look up, I think it's called Fader Beat. Look up Fader Beat on YouTube, and it's like these guys took like these DJ controllers, and they used the same software, assigned stuff to the thing, and they're making stuff by doing this stuff, and it's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. And it's like, that's kind of the point, to actually kind of create something that, they look like they're having fun. And so it was the same thing with this. It was like, I wanted to kind of do the things that I want to see. I want to see lights, and I want to see crazy stuff, and I don't, and if I saw somebody doing this and their whole system caught on fire, I wouldn't look at them and say, oh, come on, man. I'd be like, wow, he made his system catch on fire. So it's kind of that kind of a thing.
Leads me to the next question. What do? You're talking about YouTube. What are you doing to spread the word, to make sure that people know about the stuff you're doing? But
the thing is that, and this is actually a big point for me now. The thing is that the world is completely different than 5 years ago. Don't even think about 10 years, 15 years ago. That's ancient history. 5 years ago, it's over. I mean, not over. It's completely new now, and the way that stories get told is different. It occurred to me about maybe 3 or 4 years ago that, let's say for instance that all this goes well. There's no need for anyone to make a documentary because all the stuff is online. All the stuff, now maybe a documentary might be nice as a way of making it concise in, say, like 10 minutes or 30 minutes or 60 minutes, but it's not a necessity anymore. You don't need a documentary on one of these cable channels to actually, for people to say, oh, what's this that this person's doing? You have the internet now. And on top of that, it's also where I learned how to build all of this stuff. So it's this kind of a feeding thing. It's like I learn this stuff, and then I'm like, well, okay, I want to do this with it, and then I post it online, and then somebody's like, hey, man, you know, we like what you're doing. Why don't you come and, you know, do that here? Or what do you think about this project? You know, we're working on our own kind of a thing, and it becomes this thing that feeds itself, and it really, without actually trying, it has cut out probably 3 middlemen. I mean, like, literally, I haven't had to, used to be 2 years ago, even for, say, coming here, you would have to have a press kit, you would have to have, and that would be pictures on paper, you know, and CDs and DVDs and things like that, you know, sheets of paper in a folder. And you would have to put this in a mailbox, and it would take like days to get there, and they may or may not even see all of it, and then they would have to take the pictures and put those through a machine. Now, okay, scan them, and then make the press materials that would go out, and it would be this long, arduous process. Now, people go to YouTube, they're like, oh, this looks interesting. You know, we got this thing going on. Hey, man, I don't know if you'd be interested, but, you know, we got this thing going on, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, cool. You know, here's some files, here's some pictures, high res, here's the contracts, here's the this, here's the that, you know, if you want to, you can do it all over PayPal. Everything is there on the internet, including booking your flights. So it's a completely different way of going about the you know, all of this. So now all of this, it becomes part of it. It becomes, you know, you realize that you're living like a reality show that ends when you die.
Cool. That leads me to the last question. What would Onyx do without digital?
There is no Onyx without digital, man. That doesn't happen. No, man. I mean, I've been into, I mean, I used to make circuits when I was a kid, and I've literally been waiting for this era my entire life. I used to carry around pocket computers back when that was really not cool. Now everybody in here's got a pocket computer. You know, and they call it an iPhone or an Android phone. You know, phone's the key word now, but it's still a computer. And it's the same thing with being able to sit at home and say, you know, I'm into robots. I think I'll make a robot. How to make a robot. There's all the tutorials on YouTube, you know, instructionals written out in PDF form, links to where you can buy all the parts, you know, have it all delivered to your house. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, I don't know why everybody isn't just running in the street going crazy like, oh my God, oh my God. You know, it's amazing. It's like you can literally do anything now, which is scary, you know, but I think that when you realize that you can do anything, if you can push anything towards the good things and away from some of the psycho stuff that can also be done with the same materials, maybe more people, when they're looking at, you know, as one TED presenter put it, that terrorism is a brand. Well, you know, cool stuff is a brand too, you know. And if you can pull more people over to that side than to this side, I think that it'll continue to be amazing.
Thanks a lot. We will definitely follow your path. It was very inspiring, and yeah, good luck. Yeah?
Cheers.